Welcome back to the Grow Like a Mother podcast. Today I am here with Joyce. Joyce is a fellow Canadian, but lives in the United States now, and she's a soul aligned manifestation coach. She's also a speaker and an embodiment facilitator. Her purpose is to empower you to reach your full potential, aligned with the version of yourself that prioritizes what you love. And that is what we're talking about today. We're talking about manifestation. We're talking about loving yourself enough to make your passions a priority. Welcome to the show, Joyce.
Thank you so much, Jill. Really
I
glad to be here and empowering women, making ourselves a priority.
I love it. This is so cool. And I love how you really can teach people to like how to find what their thing is if they just don't know, because so many moms are in the thick of it and they forget who they are. Like those are the people generally that come to me. And in my community, I'm hearing from other coaches too. They're like, oh my gosh, I'm a mom, maybe a new mom, or maybe I've got a second or third baby. And I just forget who I am. Do you find that is a type of woman that comes to you as well?
Yeah, my girls are grown, but it was like I was a mom. I wasn't a woman. I was a wife, but I wasn't like a separate individual, autonomous human being. I was the mom, the go-to. And it actually when my girls were younger, I would we actually got catalogs or course catalogs
Mhm.
every year. And I would look through those and think, oh, I want to go back to school. I want to continue my education and pursue my interest. And then I'd have a baby on my lap while I was flipping through the course calendar, and the baby would be like flopping on the pages. And I actually was taking a course when my first was born. And I remember I had the textbook open and I was, trying to study and make notes, and she was on my lap and she was tapping the pages. And I knew in that moment, it's like, no, it's not my season. It's not my time to pursue what I want right now. I chose to have a family and I'm going to love on these girls and give them everything, and then just forgot about my thing. And so then when they went to school, I started volunteering in the school. I actually, it's like, oh, I want to like I want to know what's going on in the school, right? So I'm going to become a part of the PTSO. And so the first year I was like one of the helpers, and then the second year they were looking for the president. And I had no experience, but they needed a warm body. And so I was like, okay, I'll do it. But I had no idea what I was doing. And I pretty much deferred to everyone else. But that was my leadership exposure to a leadership role. But it still wasn't my thing. It was like I was there serving the school, or I was serving some role in the church. I was serving some role for a nonprofit. Like as the years went by, it was, I didn't have my thing. So it's like, oh, well, these people need help, and I'm a really good helper and get things done. I have lots of ideas, and I learned a lot of skills along the way. While I was married, we ended up having a business, a medical device business. And so it's like, because I was going to go back to school because the girls were in school, and it's like, oh, now it's my time to go back to school. But then the business needed my help. So I'm like, okay, well, obviously I want to, that's our bread and butter. So I'm going to support that. So again, it wasn't my thing. It was kind of like our thing, but it wasn't my thing. And then, it's so important. It's part of making ourselves a priority to do our own thing. And whatever that is, it's like, maybe it's a business, maybe it's a way of taking care of yourself, creating something, maybe like, someone who's in the arts, they're, like they create that, or they create a business, something, right? Of that we can say it's ours. Like I used my creativity, I used my ideas, and I brought them to life. And then that's how we can keep a part of ourselves alive rather than getting, what we do. We do everyone else's things.
Yes. And I find that I got asked this question the other day, like, who is Jill? And I started to describe all the things I do for other people. And they're like, well, that's what you do, but like, who are you? And it's a hard question to answer as like someone who has been wrapped up in helping with everyone else's thing. So is that how you kind of started in this coaching journey? Like realizing, oh, I've lost like I haven't had the opportunity to do my thing? And then was it a personal journey that led you to the coaching end of it, or how did that all come about?
Definitely. Just over time, I found I was less happy and less happy, even though I had a wonderful family, great friends. I was, sorry, forgot about that thing. um, Even though I was like doing all these other things, it's like I was like, there's a part of me that just didn't feel fulfilled. And I would just kind of go from one thing to the next, like almost searching for like, where do I have value? And then whatever I was doing, whether it's nonprofit, the church, or our business, I contributed a lot of value. And like I was saying, I learned a lot of skills. And I didn't know that this was going to be preparation for me for later. And then so when the girls ended up starting to go to university and whatnot, it's like, oh, well, now what do I do with myself? It's like, I don't have anyone to carpool. I don't have to do this. I'm not doing that. And what do I do with myself? Right. Because we didn't have the business anymore. And it's like, well, who is Joyce? Like, who am I? And what do I do in this world, in my life? And so that's where I started searching. It's like, well, what do I do next? Like, who am I going to be next? And so I took that unhappiness feeling and started funneling it into, what am I going to do? Like, what's this next chapter of my life I'm going to write? And as I was pursuing different interests, I came around, it's like, okay, well, it's like, where do I start? Because it's like, what do I do? Where do I start? It's like, oh, I remember hearing, like, when you're in that place, it's like, well, start looking at like, what do you talk about most with your friends? What do you like? What articles are you reading? What news are you interested in? What books do you have or gravitate to? Like, what's your go-to? And by that point, I had a nice sizable library of personal growth books. And about our brain, because it started when my girls were younger. It's like, how to be the best parent. Like, what do you do to be the best parent? How do you navigate that? Because I wanted to, like, I didn't have any experience. I didn't have younger siblings. I really didn't babysit to know. So and I didn't grow up actually with my mom. My mom was my parents separated when I was younger, so I didn't even have like a mom. It was like I was totally flying solo here. And so I was like, oh, I have a wealth of books about marriage, how to have the best marriage, how to raise the kids. Why do I do what I do, and how does my brain work, and all this neuroscience? And so I was looking at all those things, and I'm like, when we make ourselves a priority, it's like, that's the things that interest us. And so I was researching all of that, but I wasn't doing anything with it to make it a priority for me. It was like my love, my interest. So, and I discovered it was my passion. And it's like, when we as women, like, we have lots of passions that maybe we dabble in them a little bit here and there, but if we don't pursue our passion, then we don't know where we can take it. We don't know our full potential. And that's where I was at. It's like, I didn't know I was a mom, I helped here, I did this and that, but I didn't really know my full potential, all the skills that I had gained, the experience that along the way, what it all was accumulating, and what it was doing. And then when I decided to be a coach, it's like, coaches, love personal growth. And then I found this one training, because I was looking at, like, really was into nutrition as well. I had a lot of books on nutrition and health. So I wanted to combine the two, but I couldn't find a course that combined the both of them. And so I was in the Natural Awakenings magazines. Maybe your audience is familiar with those. They're everywhere. And I saw this little ad in there. It said soul coaching. And I'm like, oh, what's that? Because that was very different than the other coaching that I had been reading about. And so that definitely aligned with me. So I took something I was passionate about, personal growth, and, soul based. And that's like the feeling, the embodiment of what we do, and combining that with my values. then I was like, now I had something that I wanted to go after. And I thought, because I was thinking about going back and becoming a psychologist, psychiatrist, whatnot. And I'm like, okay, that's going to take way too long. I was about 50 years old then. And I'm like, okay, no, I want to get moving on this because it was now my turn. And so then I pursued the coaching route, the certifications and more certifications. Um, and that's what took me down that path of my own. So it became my thing that I was doing, no longer doing everyone else's thing.
Yeah, I love that. And it's such a unique, like you said, like a unique way to approach the coaching world. Can you tell us a little bit more about like what it means to be this soul aligned manifestation coach and what kind of work you do with your clients?
Yeah, it's like I didn't know like what soul coaching was, and I really didn't know what coaching was, other than I wanted to help people. And what I realized was I'd already been helping people for years, like because we as women we talk, right? We support each other, and I was kind of like the go-to person. It's like our what what we're what okay, I call it like our genius, our expertise, our genius, it comes so natural to us and we don't even know it. We just kind of take it for granted. So it's just, oh, well, like people like talking to me, they open up to me, and um I just took it for granted that everyone does this, right? And it's like, no, like, I just feel really comfortable with you. I feel really safe. This is like what my clients say. It's like, I really just, I've never told anyone these things. And I just like, it's just pouring out of my mouth, right? And I'm like, okay, great. Doesn't this happen with everyone? Doesn't everyone feel comfortable with everyone doing this? So soul coaching is, it's like we get out of our heads, our conscious mind, and we go into our souls, into our unconscious part of ourselves, where our emotions are, where our patterns are programmed inside. And when we go to that depth, we start to open up our wounds, we open up our souls, our limitations. And so that's where the work gets done. It doesn't get done by talking about the problem and talking about the problem. We actually, and I'm NLP trained, neuro linguistic programming, a master facilitator practitioner. And so whenever we repeatedly tell a disempowering story, whether it's to ourselves in our minds or to someone else, we keep anchoring that belief. We keep anchoring that way of being. And so it prevents us from making ourselves a priority because maybe we don't feel like we're worthy of making ourselves a priority. We can't say no to other people and say yes to ourselves, because it's all deep inside of us. And it's, some science part is, and this is what I get geeked out on, and that's what all my library of books are all about, is like we have an event that happens in our life, and our eyes see the event, and then we create an emotion. The emotion creates that chemical reaction that talks to the brain, and then it gets lodged. Okay, so say for simplicity's sake, it's almost like it gets lodged in the muscles, right? The tissues are the issues. The issues are in the tissues. And it's like this programming gets inside of us and we don't even know it. And that's the unconscious part. And so I have lots of thoughts going on in my head at the same time. And so that like the combination of all these things, like, why do we do what we do, and why do we stuff our emotions, or why do we have outbursts of emotions, and what's going on, how can we become more empowered, how can we love ourselves enough to be autonomous as mothers, as wives, as daughters, sisters, like there's also this other concept, um, in NLP. We're like part of a tribe when we grow up, and we do everything the same. like if you look at other families, how they how the other families function, it's like, well, your family's functioning just like that too. And so it's like we get programmed to behave according to the beliefs, the standards, the values of the family. And then we get to that point in time where we start to rebel. We want to break away and become an individual, but then we get pulled right back in. It's like, no, you can't be different. You have to do things this way. So then that keeps us from, as adults, we're still acting like children. Yes, we can be like in our 20s, 30s, 40s, much older, yet we'll still act like that child in a certain situations, because that's the emotional maturity that we're functioning at. So until we heal that wound, heal that belief, and rewrite it, reprogram it, rewire it, we'll continue to show up that way. So it's like, that's why we don't make ourselves a priority. That's why I have a passion, but no, I can't do that. I'm not good enough. Or, even though I became a coach over 10 years ago, it took me several years to actually be a coach, because it's like I had the credentials, I had the passion, I was doing what I wanted to do, but to actually go and coach someone that I had to get results for, that were going to pay me, it's like, oh no, I'm going to go do another training instead.
Yeah, I think a lot of people will resonate with that one for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just like more trainings and more trainings. And having had I known early on what my limitations or my limiting beliefs were, there's then sorry, if I'd known early on, if I would have, should have, could have, I would have been much further ahead. There's a book called The Big Leap by, I think it's Gay Hendricks,
Yeah.
and he talks, it's a amazing book. It talks about the upper limits. And so this is our comfort zones. And this is why we don't make ourselves a priority, because we get comfortable being who we are, getting the results that we're getting. And like I was becoming more unhappy and more unhappy because I wasn't doing my thing. So these upper limits, it's like I was ready to go beyond the upper limit, because imagine it's like the horizon is your limit, right? And as we get closer to that horizon, where like, okay, that's a little challenging, but it's still comfortable, but then if we go too far out of our comfort zone, then we pull back and we go back where it's safe. I'm trying to think of an example, maybe like I think as mothers, it's like it's like you do everything for your kids, for your family, for the community, and one day you just like, I really feel strongly inside that I don't want to do this. I don't want to say yes to the person, but you put on a happy face and you say yes, right? But one day I'm not going to say yes to this person anymore, because I'm just tired of whatever, or I'm going to do something for myself. So and it could be just a really small request, right? So you're like, okay, I feel safe saying no, right? I'm going to practice. So that you say no and you're like, whew, okay, that was really tough, but it was your first time you did it. So, okay, I did it and I feel good about myself, but oh, now I have the guilt, right? Oh, maybe I should, I really, that wasn't really good of me. They really needed me, blah, blah, blah. So it's like, okay, but it was all right. It was just a little thing. So we test the waters, and then maybe you're like, okay, I'm going to say no to something a little bit bigger next time. And maybe you do, but you don't really align with that it's okay. Like you haven't really given yourself permission to make yourself a priority, but you did it anyways. And then that's where it's like, oh, that was way too uncomfortable. Way, 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 way too uncomfortable. I'll never do that again. So you go back into your comfort zone. So that's that upper limit. And when we are okay with what we want to do, what we need to do for ourselves, that passion that really matters to us, and we start saying yes to ourselves, then that's where we can raise that upper limit, start to raise it, because there's something so much more important. It's like manifesting. If we don't believe or affirmations, right? Affirmations and manifestation. If we really don't believe that we can have what we want, or like say, I'm a confident, powerful coach. And I can say that affirmation, but if inside of me it's like, oh no, you're not, you like, you have a lot to learn still. You have a lot of experience you need to gain. Um, then that affirmation will never work. I will never manifest from that place of what's called lack. I don't believe in myself. So I'm lacking the confidence. I'm lacking the belief in myself that I can be a good, powerful, confident coach. Um, so as much as we have a passion for something, and we really, it's important to us, we need to have like, it's like this triangle. Everything needs to line up: the belief in ourselves, our passion, and why we value that passion, and why it's important to us. So, and then we can make it a priority.
And
And if we,
then,
or we just say like, forget everyone, like, I don't care. I've been serving everyone for 20 years, right? I've been raising this family for 20 years. I am done with all of you. I'm going to go do my thing. And then we basically check out. Because we're just so fed up. We get to that point. Again, those emotions, we haven't really expressed our emotions. We haven't let other people know what's important to us. So we train other people how to treat us. We train other people what to expect. So there's just so much. There's so much as mothers, right? Or daughters, um, sisters, there's so much there that, again, we follow the rules. We're following the rules that have been imposed on us, the expectations, that we can't make ourselves a priority.
yeah, I love that this is the work that you're doing to help women realign with themselves, their passions, their values, so that they can prioritize themselves and then get the life that they want through the process of manifesting it. Because we all have this inner control, right? That what we are thinking becomes our reality. So, can you talk to us just a little bit more? I know we're short on time now, but I really want to dive into how manifesting fits into all of this once you've been able to prioritize yourself. What can that look like for women? Like, what kind of transformation can they see once they get this?
Yeah, you just said it perfectly. It's like, what we're thinking, our thoughts are so powerful. And our thoughts are all of those beliefs, all of those memories that we've had. Um, it's and our thoughts are always creating our reality. It's just like, um it's our thoughts are so powerful that, say something happened long time ago, and it's already happened. Okay, so this is landmark based. Okay, whatever happened happened the way it happened. Whatever didn't happen the way it was supposed to happen. And if you caught that, it doesn't, or if you didn't catch that, it doesn't matter. It's the fact that something happened in the past, and now it's already happened. It's over, it's done. Yeah, but they did this and this happened, and I, like the stories, right? And though that's a memory, and it's anchored into us. So anytime we go back to that memory, we're actually reliving it as if it happened. It's like, well, yeah, but it did happen. It's like, you're right, it did happen, but it happened years ago. And we're acting right now in the present moment as if it's occurring right now, but it happened 10 years ago. But, right. It's like, well, yes, it did happen 10 years ago. And I'm stressing this point because we can go back in time and relive something. We can also create from our imagination the future. We can say we want, okay, well, it just, whether you have been on a beach or not. If you've been on a beach before, this even better, because now all your senses are alive. So imagine it's sunrise, the sun's coming up, there's a light breeze that you feel in your hair and on your skin, and you feel the sand in your feet, and you're walking along the edge of the water as the water, touches your feet and then recedes, and you feel your feet going into the sand, and how quiet it is in those early morning hours. when the sun's just coming up and it's just slightly warm and that breeze is on your skin and you can just look off into the distance as if nothing else matters in this life. And all you hear is the waves and the birds calling to each other. And you feel that you can just be here forever. Now, who was there? Who was feeling that?
Yep.
So were you there? No, of course you were right here, like on Zoom. Were you watching this play or listening to the audio, right? And it's like, but you took yourself there. That's the power of your thoughts and your imagination. We can create a new reality, but then something comes along like those upper limits and just says, no, that you can't have that, right? So that's where manifestation comes in. We need to shift the beliefs that we have, shift our thoughts, and do that by like maybe even set a timer. And just when that timer goes off, what thoughts were you having? Because you may be doing something like, I don't know, like something mundane, like washing dishes, or I don't know, go, out on an errand, driving in the car. And if that timer goes off, pay attention to what you were thinking. And I like, because we don't, most of the time we don't even know what we're thinking. And our body is reacting in that moment to what we're thinking, which determines how relaxed we are, how stressed we are, the anxiety we have, depression that we have, all those things. So yeah, just really notice your thoughts. And are they your thoughts or those programmed thoughts? So whose thoughts are they? And then give them back to it's like what I always say is like, take the thoughts if they're not yours, if they're not empowering, put them in a box, close the lid, put them on the shelf. And that way they're gone temporarily, they're hiding, but they're still there.
Yeah, exactly. You can deal with them at another time or return to sender. They're already in the
Yeah,
box.
right. Yeah. Don't even open.
Yeah,
Don't even open, just
exactly.
send it back.
Exactly. It's such a practice to be able to notice these types of things. And I think that's exactly why if someone's hoping to get to this point where they can identify and be in control of their thoughts and create their life and really prioritize themselves, it's so important to have someone on your team to help you through that because it's really hard to do on your own. Can you tell us how people could get in touch with you and work with you if they're eager to go on this journey?
Oh, absolutely. I am so thankful for my coaches who
Yep.
have really helped me get over those hurdles and break through that upper limit. Because boy, that it was like this steel drum on top of my head. I don't know, like something, like just definitely I was not going to break through this thing on my own. And so we all need someone who is like on our team, who's got our back, someone who can see our potential that we don't see, someone who can help us like, hey, this is your genius. Yeah, it comes so natural to you that you don't even know that it's your gift. And have someone help you see that. And that's what I do for people. It's like, here's your full potential. Here's where your blocks are. So you can reach me at soul genius.com. And it's just a really simple website. There's a link there. You can book a call. Let's talk. It's like, hey, what are you making yourself a priority? If you're not, well, why not? Like what's getting in the way? What's stopping you? Well, this. Okay. Well, that's the away from language. What do you want instead? And it's just a simple, really conversation. And the main thing is, are you ready to let go of those beliefs? Do you really want to tap into something that's more powerful within you that you're passionate about, and not just dream about it, but actually live it? And so that's where I take people. It's like, hey, if you're, sometimes we're not ready. I wasn't ready for a long time.
Mhm.
And but it's like, oh, I needed that help too. I could have shortened it by a quarter of the time, down to a quarter, not by a quarter. I could have shortened it down to a quarter of the time if I had more guidance. But I was trying to do it all myself. We just try to do it ourselves. I'll just read another book. I'll
Yeah.
attend another course.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would really look forward to talking with anyone who's ready to just share your dreams with me. Let me dream with you, or let's dream together. And Let's have a conversation. And I'm so glad for this opportunity with you, Jill, and your audience. And it's like, it's like, oh yes, like all the, your people are my people.
Yes, exactly, exactly. You're reaching the folks who are here to hear this message. And so I really encourage anyone who is resonating with Joyce and what she's saying and is curious just to book a little call, have a little chat, go over to her website. We'll have all the show notes or all the links in the show notes on how you can reach her. Joyce, thank you again so much for your time today. It's been a real gift chatting with you.
Thank you so much.